Some people finish a conversation and then keep having it for the next 6 hours, in their head, alone. If that's you, this video isn't about anxiety. It's about an ancient piece of wiring that's doing its job too well. You said goodbye to a friend 40 minutes ago. The conversation was fine. Easy. Nothing went wrong. You are now in the kitchen, holding a glass of water, replaying the exact moment you said, "Yeah, no, totally," instead of just, "Yeah." You meant to say something funnier. You almost did. You can feel the better version of the sentence in your mouth, like a word that's halfway out. It's been 40 minutes. Or maybe it was a meeting, a small one. You spoke for 16 seconds. You can quote yourself back word for word 3 days later. You can also quote the way nobody quite reacted. Or you sent a message. One message. 18 words. You have read it back 9 times since. You're not editing it. You can't. You sent it. You're just reading it. Like it might say something different the 10th time. This is the replay. And
here's what's actually happening. 1. Ancestral threat rehearsal. For most of human history, your survival depended on a small group of about 150 people. You didn't get to leave them. If you embarrassed yourself in front of the wrong person, that didn't blow over in a week. It changed your status in the group, your access to food, to mates, to protection. In that environment, the cost of underanalyzing a social interaction was massive. The cost of overanalyzing it was almost nothing, just some uncomfortable hours of thinking. So the brain learned to err on one side. Replay everything. Look for the misstep. Find it before the group does. Your brain is not malfunctioning when it replays a conversation. It is running a very old subroutine that assumed every conversation was high stakes. Because for our ancestors, every conversation was. 2. The default mode network. There is a network in your brain called the default mode network. Neuroscientists noticed it in the early 2000s, almost by accident. They kept seeing the same regions activate when subjects were not doing a task, when they were just lying there, thinking about nothing. Except the brain wasn't doing nothing. It was doing autobiography, reviewing the day, mentally walking back into recent social scenes. The default mode network is more or less the part of you that replays things. It comes on the moment your attention isn't pinned to something else. The drive home, the shower, the minute before sleep. That is not a coincidence. The replay isn't an intruder. It's what your brain does when you let it idle. 3. The Zeigarnik Effect. In 1927, a psychologist named Bluma Zeigarnik noticed that waiters in a cafe could remember the details of an unpaid bill perfectly and forget the same details the instant the bill was paid. Unfinished things stay loaded in working memory. Finished things drop out. A conversation that ended cleanly, where you said what you meant, they responded the way you expected, no awkward beat, that conversation goes away. You don't replay it. You don't need to. The conversation that loops is the one your brain has flagged as unfinished. Maybe you didn't get the reaction you wanted. Maybe you almost said the better thing and didn't. Maybe the silence at the end could have meant 5 different things. Your brain keeps the file open until it gets resolution. And in a conversation that's already over, resolution doesn't come from outside. So your brain tries to manufacture it on its own by running the scene again and again. That's the loop.
I want to tell you something I noticed in my own life. I had a conversation with a friend a couple of years ago where I said something a little sharper than I meant to. Not cruel, just a degree off. He didn't react. The conversation moved on. We hung up. I replayed that 30-second exchange for, I am not exaggerating, 11 days. What I noticed wasn't that I was upset about it. I wasn't. What I noticed was the shape of the replay.
it always came on at the same moments. Brushing my teeth, walking from my car to my door, right as I was falling asleep. Idle moments. The default mode network doing its thing. And the loop only stopped when I texted him. Not to apologize, just to ask how he was. We talked for 10 minutes. After that, the replay went silent. Completely. The Zeigarnik Effect, in real time. The brain wasn't punishing me. It was holding the file open until I closed it. Here is the thing nobody told me, and I wish someone had. The replay is not a flaw. It is an expensive form of social intelligence, running in a context it wasn't built for. Your brain is treating every conversation like it might cost you the tribe. Most of them won't, but the wiring is still in there, and it is still running. This means two things. One, the people who replay are usually the people who actually care how their words land. The brain only loops on things it considers important. Yours considers other people important. That is not a small thing. Two, the loop wants resolution. You can give it some. Not always by talking to the person, sometimes by just naming what the loop is doing. This is my brain trying to close an unfinished file. Naming it sometimes closes it. Not always, but sometimes. The replay doesn't go away when you become a calmer person. It goes away when the conversation feels finished. Sometimes you have to finish it. For yourself.
There is a mirror image of this behavior. The people who do all of this before the conversation, not after. They rehearse the same 3 sentences in their head for 2 days before sending one text. If that one is you too, that's the next video on the channel.